Good Tuesday evening, everyone. Today is January the 27th.
I'm Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia.
I'm Jeff Zayas in Napa, California.
And I'm Robert Taylor in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Hello, everyone. I'm Duke Carrico. On tonight's Android Journal, we're going to speculate about Google's MVNO. Hey, so that's what that Dimple is. And Android TV, is it already a fail? Hey, all this much more. Our apps and hardware. Hey, gang, welcome to episode 87 of Android Journal. How we doing tonight, panel?
What we're doing.
Fantastic.
Yeah, everybody having a good week so far.
Yeah, here in Napa, it's nice and it's like in the 60s. It's good. Not like the East Coast, man.
Boy, they're getting blasted.
Yeah.
Where is that coming from?
I saw a funny picture somebody posted on Facebook about New York City getting 2 feet of snow, and instead of a snowman, they actually built 2 big feet with the legs up to just below the knee.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, hey, it sounds like the Northeast is definitely getting some weather, but it's not as bad as what they were originally predicting, so that's a good thing for sure. Hey, guys, let's talk about Android a little bit tonight. Hey, man, big news this week.
Do I still have a job?
You know, Jeff, you bought that iPhone, so no, this will be your last show with Android Journal. So say your farewells now, and we've got Dennis DeVoe standing by to take your place.
Exactly. One next man up.
Hey,
Folks,
guys.
you can see Jeff Zayas on iPhone Journal.
Yeah.
No.
iJournal,
yes.
Hey, okay, man, on with the show. Let's talk about Google here. Hey, man, there's the information leaked this, and I need to preface this. You know, almost exactly a year ago, the information posted an article. It was a story that said that Google was trying to become an MVNO and was in negotiations with Sprint and Verizon.
No, T-Mobile, I think.
No, last year it was Sprint and Verizon. Okay, this year they posted an article that said Sprint and T-Mobile. Okay? Now, this time, this rumor seems to have gained some legs. There's a lot of insiders, okay, that are saying that this is going to come true, that Google wanted to announce this last fall. They couldn't get all their ducks in a row. This thing is codenamed Nova. Now, what we're learning about this past the information article is that this thing is going to have, I'm going to call it code for lack of a better word, but it's going to automatically switch between Sprint's network and T-Mobile's network to find the most reliable, strongest signal. And it's going to do this seamlessly. Okay?
I think it's also going to be Wi-Fi.
This is a possibility. We've talked about Wi-Fi with the Google Fiber networks and the Wi-Fi that they have in place, yes. But it's still Sprint and T-Mobile, two weaker of the U.S. carriers, okay? Listen, a lot of this at this point might be hearsay, except there has been some movement found on the FCC's website where Google's been applying for some of this stuff. Hey, guys, my question to you first, Robert. You're a Verizon user, not maybe totally satisfied with Verizon, but you are a Verizon user and you've used it for a time. You've got a grandfather plan. Would you switch to this Google MVNO? And for people who don't know, MVNO stands for Mobile Virtual Network Operator. In other words, they're buying the data from these established networks and selling it to you. So that makes them virtual, okay? Robert, your question: would you consider switching from Verizon to this Google slash Sprint slash T-Mobile network?
No. And the primary reason for that is because in my area, and this is where all the cards play out, in my area, T-Mobile and Sprint are both notoriously bad. And so it doesn't matter whether it switches between the two seamlessly. I don't get coverage from either one in my particular case. Now, if I lived in another area, both Sprint and T-Mobile in actually New Orleans proper, they offer very good support in downtown New Orleans. And if I live there, if I work there, then certainly it would give me pause to think. You know, there's a lot of factors here that aren't discussed in the article at all, like cost. You know, that's got to be that is the big impetus right now on anybody buying a phone is how much is the data, how much is the the voice plan. I mean, practically giving the voice part of it away. But I do want to say on the technical side of things, when switching between two totally different carriers, it's not like just handing off a call from one tower to another tower of the same carrier. There's a whole call connect switch that's going to have to occur, and while you might be able to put up with the pause or the delay when browsing the web for just data usage, I don't know that people would be really comfortable with the switch on a voice call. And that, I think, would have some problems. That would be an issue.
Robert, you brought up a point that I wondered about this thing with switching. What will this switching do to battery life of a phone? Because I know right now when I have a weak or no signal and it's searching for a tower, man, it can zap the battery right out of my Nexus.
Well, I would think that switching from a tower of one carrier to a tower of another carrier wouldn't necessarily affect battery life any more than you're driving in your car and switching from tower to tower. However, hunting for a tower, that's the big problem. It's not that once you're connected and you switch, that's not the drain on the battery. The problem and the drain on the battery comes from the constant hunt. And of course, the weaker the signal or the farther, the stronger the radio signal has to be boosted to get a connection to a tower, obviously the more juice you're going to consume. So that would be tough.
Yeah, keep in mind this is more than just tower switching. This is switching from CDMA to GSM as well.
Correct.
And so this is going to be a world type phone, so that's going to limit, the types of devices that can use this particular service. Just on the joking side, this gives all new meaning to 3G. Because I'm looking at this article, Duke, you got Google hardware, Google software running on a Google carrier, 3G. There you go.
I like that, Bruce. Okay, hey Jeff, you're a Verizon customer. If let's just say because Google has said that they'd like to do this to make it affordable, and let's face it, guys, we're talking. They put balloons up. Okay, they put drones up. They just invested $1 billion with SpaceX to do SpaceNet. That's my word for it. If they could get if they could offer you T-Mobile and Sprint service for a sizable discount versus what you're paying now, are you in?
If it, my other comment about it, I thought it had Wi-Fi as well. It would switch through that as well. And if they do that, I would consider it because I'm not too sure of the Sprint coverage or the T-Mobile coverage at my house. But if I could dovetail off my Wi-Fi to get the calls, I know T-Mobile does that. So I don't know if they're like gonna incorporate that aspect of it. That would be wonderful. So I would consider it, especially because there's a lot of already in place networks, like Starbucks and Wi-Fi carriers that might be just being serviced by Google or somebody, and maybe they can dovetail off those locations for the calls and the data as well. So if it's including Wi-Fi, I think they have something. I really do. If it's not, then it's just it's probably good for the industry to drive more costs down. So that's a good thing.
Bruce, right now there's a whole lot of rumors. There's even more unknowns, and we don't know what this is going to look like. But there is a chance out there that they're trying to talk to AT&T and Verizon into going along with this too. And I know you and I are AT&T customers. I've been pretty satisfied, all in all, with my AT&T coverage, especially the last couple of years. But if they were to get AT&T or Verizon on board with this and save you and I money, I believe I'd be jumping ship. Would you?
Oh, I'd definitely give it a hard look. That's for sure. Yep.
What would be the advantage of Verizon to do it? Why would they want to do it? Because it's just eating their own flesh, right? So.
And that's why I don't think it will happen, Jeff, because at this point, AT&T and Verizon have very little incentive to go along with this. But on the other hand, Sprint and T-Mobile have a whole lot to gain.
Yeah, Sprint more than T-Mobile too, right? So, financially, this might be their savior. This might be Sprint's savior,
Yeah. Well, like one of the comments on the article bring out, why doesn't Google get serious about maybe buying somebody like T-Mobile? Is there a reason why they wouldn't do that or couldn't do that?
Anyone?
I don't know if there would be some kind of FCC licensing issues or not.
Well, there could be some, and that's why one person asked, is there any regulatory restrictions? So I don't know.
Okay. Well, they obviously have the chops to do it. I mean, they had money's done the issue for Google.
Right. Hey guys, I am going to move on. If you don't have any more to add about this, I'm pretty excited about it. I think we're going to learn more. It does sound, when I first read the article, I didn't believe it. But as the week has gone on, I believe we're a little bit closer to seeing this happen with Google, and why not? Like I say, when I got to thinking about drones and the Project Loon, $1 billion in SpaceX. This just goes right along with trying to provide internet. So we'll see what happens here. I'm hoping it'll come true. I'm hoping that it's very affordable, and man, I would love to see AT&T and Verizon play in this space, but I don't think it's going to happen. All right, man. Hey, on this same note, and Jeff, you were just talking about if this had this Wi-Fi network you'd be in. Guys, Cablevision they've got this plan in place to offer a phone service through Wi-Fi only. Okay? Now, there might be some internet providers such as Comcast, Cablevision that might be getting in on this action also. But, and this is still, this is early days. First of all, you're going to have to buy Motorola's Moto G, and it's going to come with Cablevision spam, okay? A lot of their specific bloatware. But guys, this thing is only $7 a month. Now the downside here is you've got to be in a Wi-Fi hotspot to use it. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've seen similar things here come and go, either over a data plan or something over Wi-Fi only. But my question right out of the gate to you, Jeff, is this a fail?
Yes. It's a fail. For me, it's a fail because if the whole idea, you have to have some kind of backup on a cellular network to to use your mobile phone. I mean, it would be no different than having Vonage or Uma or some other voice over IP kind of phone in your home anyway. So it wouldn't work for me because there's no fallback. But it's a nice idea. If it's incorporated with something else, yes, but just by itself, no, not for me.
Okay, Robert, if if you don't have Sprint and T-Mobile coverage where you're sitting there right now, I doubt you're going to have this Cablevision Wi-Fi coverage.
No, we don't have it at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
But what if you lived and worked in downtown New Orleans, where there were countless Wi-Fi hotspots? Here again, keeping at your we're talking $7 a month versus $70 a month. What do you think, man?
But even then, it's still not going to work for me. And the reason being is I carry a cell phone because I'm mobile. I'm in my car. Now, if I'm going down the street to the restaurant or to the coffee house, and there's area-wide, several cities have area-wide Wi-Fi, maybe that would apply and work. But what happens if I'm on the interstate and I'm driving my car and I break down? I can't call AAA. That's what I carry a cell phone for. Jeff's right in this case. Hate to admit it, but I got to agree with Jeff.
Bruce, you got anything you want to add?
That you don't get that low price unless you're using you're a subscriber, to their cable services. So, other than that, it's $30 a month, for using just their internet service. But yeah, I don't think, for the reason that Robert mentioned, especially for business people, if you may not mind dropping a conversation with a friend or family member who knows you got that kind of service and can wait till you get to another Wi-Fi location. But if you're in business and you think about all the people who are traveling for business in their cars, transacting business, making deals, you need to have something a lot more reliable than this. And it's not been proven that this can be done reliably yet.
All right. Hey, guys, word broke this week that, that cute little dimple on the back of the Nexus 6? And everybody wondered why that dimple was there, and they liked how it felt when they held it in their hand, and their index finger seemed to just flow to that little dimple. But they couldn't figure out why that dimple was there. Well, we learned this week why that dimple was there. That was going to be a fingerprint reader. And honest to goodness, I did not know this till I got to reading. I read several articles. And, I had the Motorola Atrix. You guys have seen me show it on this show before, and it had the fingerprint reader on the back. Well, it turns out this fingerprint reader was made by a company that Apple purchased to use in their iPhones for their fingerprint reader. So Motorola didn't have any options when they looked at who was second best. They decided that it was still an inferior product. And that dimple became plastic instead of a fingerprint reader.
Mm.
Hey, Bruce, what do you think, man?
Well, you know me, I'm the pun master. I guess you could say Apple put a dent in Motorola's business, right? And they surely did. But yeah, when my Note 2 died, and I for a couple of weeks I had the Moto X. And when I looked at it, you thought, well, oh, that's cute. They put that little dimple there so they could put their logo in there. But I too liked where my finger hit on that, and it would make so much sense for a fingerprint reader, to be right there, because when you grab your phone, you grab it the same way every time, usually with the same hand, and the just finger goes there. But on the other one, you got to hold it with one hand and touch it with another. It is very difficult to operate. Or not as easy to operate a fingerprint scanner had Motorola been able to have this as they originally intended. So, yeah, that's a tough one.
It must have been last minute, though, because you think they would have changed the design on it a little bit, because, they would have made a nice, sexy curve back, nice and smooth, and, it had to be at the last minute, or someone didn't catch it when it went into final production.
Are
Because
you guys noticing the dimple on Jeff's left cheek? Right, yeah, right there. It's a fingerprint.
exactly, I used to have a fingerprint scanner right here, and then when I was in county lockup. But no, seriously, don't you think that any other company would change the design? Or do you think it's an oversight?
No, I don't think it's an oversight at all. I've heard a lot of people say they like that dimple. They just think it works, and it's a way to hold the phone. So I think here's what I think, Jeff. I think there was a lot of prototypes that we were never privy to that had various fingerprint readers in them. Okay? And when they decided not to use the fingerprint reader, they still had that back cover design with that dimple in it. And everybody's saying, well, you know what? I kind of like the dimple here. Let's put the little, let's put a Motorola logo in here. That sort of thing,
Yeah, I don't know if I'm not a strong believer in that was a conscious decision. I think it's an oversight, and then it was too late to make the change because it would delay the phone coming back out. So they just decided to go with it.
Well, hey, Motorola is making other phones that under their own brand name that includes that same dimple without a fingerprint reader. Do you think that was an oversight?
Yes.
Stick to your guns, Jeff. Go down.
Exactly.
Stick to your guns.
Yeah, of course.
Jeff.
They should fire that guy. They should fire that guy.
The more I think you need to own an iPhone. I'm just saying, okay? All right. Hey, guys, anything else on the fingerprint reader that wasn't?
It's funny that they can't find another manufacturer by now, right?
I don't know. It's I can't think of and I don't have the article up in front of me. I apologize, but the company that was making that, they were making it for Motorola. Apple paid a pretty penny for them, so I think Apple recognized that they were probably a leader in this field. And hey, I don't hear many complaints on the fingerprint reader on the iPhone, so maybe this company was just that far ahead of any competitor that they had.
Hey, Duke, did you just get the comment from Dan McDermott? This is on a group chat regarding Android Week, but he says, I just got this sent to me. He says, has the fingerprint reader proven popular or useful, or was it a gimmick in retrospect? What do you think?
Go ahead, Jeff. Take that first.
Well, I don't have a fingerprint reader on my Android phone, so I don't own an iPhone, so I don't know. So I'm trying to keep my job. But I would think it's more of a gimmick myself. I wouldn't, I don't know how what the accuracy rate for it is. So I would say more gimmicky. That's my first initial guess.
Robert? I would say it's gimmicky right now. But I think as we get into more integrated systems, as we become even more dependent on our phone for financial transactions, I can see where a fingerprint sensor on the phone might be pretty handy. Now, having said that, Lenovo and the IBM ThinkPads have had the fingerprint sensor on their ThinkPads for quite some time. And they never work. They never, ever, ever, ever work. Forget it. Not possible. So, accuracy is extremely important, especially as the devices get smaller, or in this case, a little bit bigger, 6 inches. But still, the accuracy of that fingerprint sensor is going to be important. And if the top manufacturer has been sniped up by Apple and you can't use those, it's best to just cover up that little dimple and wait until you get somebody else who can do a superb job of reading it, because the last thing you want to do is be locked out of your phone and can't unlock it because the fingerprint sensor won't read.
Yeah.
Bruce, do you have any thoughts?
No. I on this Samsung Galaxy Alpha that I have right now, I have a fingerprint reader, And I've worked with it. You know, there's a setup that you have to go through with these things to kind of, you know, and it just has not been reliable enough for me. Invariably, I end up having to, you know, swipe it, you know, once or twice to try to get it to work right. And so it's, you know, it seems a little more gimmicky to me at this point.
I'm sorry, but I don't think it's a gimmick whatsoever. I think it makes sense. I think we're going to see more of this in more devices. Guys, we all know what a nightmare password management is. And if you look at how well that fingerprint reader works on the iPhone through Apple Pay, no, that fingerprint reader is not a gimmick in any form or fashion. It is a way to identify yourself, to make financial transactions more than just logging into your phone. And I think we're going to see more and more and more of this technology. And right now, and it pains me to say it, and I know I'm going to make some of our Android fans mad, but right now, Apple's leading this technology. It's leading in this area. I'm sorry. Anybody want to argue with me? Come on, you guys.
Argue the truth.
Come on.
You know, I do agree with you a little bit, you know, but I don't know how much other devices will, you know, kind of circumvent that, you know, and now you hear that, oh, you have a picture of your fingerprint and, you know, that may fool it and things like that. Of course, you know, who has a, you know.
Are you aware of anyone who has had their device hacked because of a fingerprint on their phone?
You know, I watch a lot of Mission Impossible movies. I know everything is possible in that. So, you know, I can rip my head off right now, and I'll be really you. So.
Well, hey, I could rip my head off and still be me. Okay.
But you know, I agree with you that it's where everything wants to go. So, but I also agree with Bruce. I don't think it's there yet. Not in this mass market.
And again, because you're not seeing the apps and the demand for the high security apps yet. I think that's still coming. When we actually see a Google Wallet, you know, widespread acceptance, and Apple Pay is just now starting to take hold. You know, give it another year or two, and fingerprint reader is going to be a key component of a phone purchase, I think, going forward.
I don't know if
it's got to be accurate.
You guys remember, you know, at the gas stations they used to have this kind of like Easy Pass. Chevron, I think it was Exxon had Easy Pass. It was a fob that they would swing through. You wouldn't have to. You have a credit card, just go fob it, and then you put in like a 4-digit code. You know, that was That was a good security payment system, but it never took off, right? So, you know, I just don't know how. You know, yeah, I could see people like going, it's not reading my fingerprint. I want to purchase this. I want to purchase this. So I don't know.
Okay. Dan, I hope we answered your question. And really quick here, guys, Josh Swafford says, way to take one for the team, Jeff. Then Doug Clement says, double what he is making. And Josh Swafford says, can he have a raise? So, Jeff, looks like you're back in, man. I'm not going to have to fire you.
Yeah,
since I actually bragged on the iPhone, you guys will be campaigning to fire me, okay?
Well, you know, it only cost me $15 each for each one of those, so.
All right, hey guys, I want to move into the discussion segments tonight, and let's talk Android TV here real quick, okay? First of all, some good news for Android TV. You can now buy it somewhere other than the Google Play Store. Best Buy, Walmart, Tiger Direct, several more. But the problem that I think that I see with Android TV is the same problem with Google TV. If you head over to the Play Store and you look for Android TV apps, you're not going to find hardly any third-party apps whatsoever. Thus far, there has been no, I don't want to say no, but very little Android developer interest in this platform. Okay? One of my predictions is this is going to fail.
Kids never get this excited about cleaning teeth.
So, yeah, and now this article that I got up is playing. So I'm going to try and kill that. And it won't let me. Okay, listen, I'm going to speak off the cuff. Here's the deal on this. Android TV, it's only got 8 gigs of memory. It's only got 1 gig of RAM. It is a very underpowered device. It only has Wi-Fi, so you can't hook up a network connection to it. And here again, even though it's finally, after they've announced it and offered it in the Google Play Store, it is starting to show up in places. Guys, I think this is already a fail. It's not going to be a fail by the end of this year. It's already failed. So, Jeff?
I agree with you, brother. You know, and I think they took the wrong tack with this from the beginning. It should have been software that you could put on any tablet or anything that, you know, ran Android basically, and then, you know, Chromecasted it out to the device. And I thought that was always the way they should do it, and it would have solved a lot more problems that way. So I'm not a big fan of that, you know, and and just let's look at the success rate of everything else, and everyone's coming out with like a stick now. You got, you know, the Fire TV, you got even Walmart selling something from Voodoo or whatever it is, and you know, it's just that that marketplace is just not it's not working. If they don't have the apps and things that kind of dovetail off it, or you can't sideload it or whatever you're doing, it's doomed for failure. It is doomed.
Bruce.
Yeah, I agree. This is a crowded market, and you know, I've got my Fire a TV stick now, and I've got my Chromecast, and I tell you, you know, I love the comments that you know, Robert made about how much he likes his Fire Stick. They're going to have to, you know, and the Fire Stick is not an underpowered device. The Fire Stick has really got some juice to it as far as processor and RAM. You can sideload apps on it, and it gets a little more complicated, you know, but geeks can do that. But yeah, this is a very crowded market, and I don't think they've, you know, unless they can strike up some deal with TV manufacturers to try to get this system inside TVs, but everybody else is trying to do that as well. So I'm not too positive on it.
So, Robert, if this thing like came with 64 gigs of storage for all your games and recorded shows, if it had 2 gigs of RAM on it and a network cable and still held the $99 price point, would you be in?
Nope. Because at this point, I have no more HDMI slots on any TV in my house.
Yeah, they had those splitters, HDMI splitters.
You know, but the thing, you know, everything that you mentioned is hardware related. Let's bump up the hardware, bump up the hardware, bump up the hardware. To do TV, Android TV well, doesn't require a great deal of performance spec. It does require apps, though. It requires content. The whole purpose of having a device is to expand the content. Here, Android TV is just dragging its heels. It's not sparked any interest. It's been announced, what, was it 6 months ago it was announced? And the end result is here we are kind of lollygagging along while everybody else is just zooming away with their content, signing big deals with all the major manufacturers and the third-party developers. So in the end, this may very well be doomed a worse fate than Google TV, a very similar fate to the Q. I saw your comment about the Q. You know, in a couple more months, Android TV, what? Yeah, nah, I'm out.
Okay, you mentioned Google TV. You guys have heard me vent quite a bit. For anybody who's not familiar with me and this show, I own 2 Google TV boxes, and I've watched Google do a terrible, terrible job of both marketing and fixing bugs. Okay, I still use both my Google TVs, but I'll tell you what's the truth. Google TV still feels beta to me. Okay, and how old's Google TV? 4 years old, maybe 5.
Yeah.
And they couldn't sell it, so they do reformat it, make it more web based, and call it Android TV. And I see them with the same problems. There's no marketing. I've yet to see them really try to get developers interested. And well, as a developer, would you be interested with such an underpowered device? I mean, you guys mentioned the Amazon Fire Stick. I mean, guys, this is a HDMI plug-in device that has actually more power than this Nexus TV, this Android TV thing, okay? Yeah, it sucks, guys.
Yeah, but I go back to my point of they should have made it software that goes on a tablet that ties into the Chromecast. That was the way to do it. And I don't know why they didn't. Don't know why.
And that is bizarre. And just for the sake of argument, actually, this is the third reboot of the Google TV platform. Remember, we originally had the Logitech, which I know you own, right, Duke? And then 2 years later, they said that there was going to be a major reproduction of Google TV. They signed a big deal with Sony. That never came to fruition. Now, 2 years after that, now we have Android TV, and nobody's stepping on board. It's like Google just keeps stepping off in a pile of dog crap when it comes to TV. They just can't seem to pull it together, which is sad because you're right, Jeff. They've already got the Chromecast. If it was software-based, boom, you could solve that problem right there. Done and done.
All right, man. Hey, I think we're all in agreement on this one. There's no arguments across the board, period. All right, guys. Hey, I'm going to move on. Hey, guys, Google, we talked last week about them filling the holes and actually got some feedback. A gentleman thought that I was unfair to say that Google should own this and fix it. And that, he thought that I was being unfair to Google because I compared it to a Windows hole. And Google has responded now, basically saying that, hey, fixing this WebView security hole is kind of beyond us. It's first of all, it's going to be too hard. But we're going to offer you some tips on how you can deal with Android 4.3 and older and these very legitimate security holes. Guys, let me make this clear. First of all, what is WebView? It's a component of Android that lets developers render web pages in apps without implementing a full browser. Okay? Now, in 4.4, they changed how they do this. And it's not a problem in 4.4 and newer devices. But from 4.3 back, basically you have this hole. And hey guys, Robert, go ahead. What do you think here? Has this changed your mind any since last week?
Nope, absolutely not. This is like going to the mechanic and saying, my car has this defect, and, if I drive more than 50 miles an hour, the steering wheel shakes really bad. And the mechanic going back to you and say, well, you know what, here, let us tell you how to take care of that. Don't drive on interstate and don't drive over 50 miles an hour. What? No, fix it. 4.3, again, is not honeycomb. It's not a 4-year-old operating system. I've got a huge issue where they're saying, oh, it's beyond us to repair. It's not that far gone that you shouldn't be held accountable to repair the security leak. You need to take care of it. You need to own it, fix it, and be done with it.
I agree.
So do I, actually, because It's not like they don't have the resources. They can definitely fix it if they wanted to. They just choose not to. It's not beyond their reach. They don't want to reach up there. You know, they just don't want to do it. They want to focus on something else, and they're just going to leave it behind. And they can just say, we're leaving it behind, you know, deal with it. And that's what they're trying to do now.
Man, this is a boring show tonight. Everybody's just agreeing. I'll tell you what's the truth. I hadn't spoken. I disagree. Man, it's Google. I'm a Google fanboy. They don't have to fix it. If they don't want to, let Apple plug it. If somebody wants it fixed, come on, man.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
Sorry, you're not going to get a fight that way.
How serious is this anyway? I mean, I know there's a potential, but for serious security. But how much do you think? What's the probability that people are experiencing serious breaches with this vulnerability? How is it being exploited? Do we have any evidence of that? Any numbers?
Well, I don't know. You know, for example, like, you know, if you have it depends on the app, right, and how they're using it. It's the app itself that is, you know, pulling the information out and rendering it. So it's how they're, you know, so you as a user, you wouldn't know that your Wells Fargo app is, you know, is having some difficulties, and you could be, you know, I don't know, spoofed or whatever happens. I don't even know what can happen, but, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's the problem. I don't know.
And I would argue it's not the legitimate apps. It's the malware apps that you don't even know. This is like having a back door unlocked and going to all of the burglars that live in your town and say, you know, I work from 9 to 5 and my back door is unlocked all the time.
And you're probably right.
Somebody's going to come through there, and they're going to take advantage of, because it's a known security risk, they're going to take advantage of it. And as simple as, I don't know if y'all remember 3 or 4 months ago when the flashlight apps, all those free flashlight apps that were gathering information, everybody thought it was harmless. It's just a flashlight app. It doesn't go on the web. It doesn't do anything. But meanwhile, they were sitting there collecting all of that data and reporting back to their own servers. That's the danger.
And you hit the note right there, because that is, you know, people who are developing something just to exploit that as a free game or whatever. But you're right. Probably established apps you don't have to worry about, and things that but you have people that you know, let's download Cotton Candy, you know, or whatever the game is, and you know, therein lies the rub.
Hey Jeff, what's your tablet running right now?
It's running Lollipop.
Okay, so you've got the Lollipop. So I don't think any of us are running anything older than 4.4 right now, are we, on our Android devices?
I am actually. I'm running 4.1.2 or whatever was on the latest one on Razor Max.
On your phone right now. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, so let me ask you a question, Jeff. Are you using Chrome or Firefox, or are you still using apps?
I use apps and Chrome, right? But the apps that I use are, I don't use any financial apps on my phone. They're pretty much navigation apps, you know, Google standard stuff, you know, things like that. I don't have a lot of games. I don't play any games on my phone. It's really a working kind of phone for me. So I would say stock kind of Android apps that everyone has, like barcode scanner, things like that.
Because if you're using Android apps and they're using this web view to pull from other web pages, then you're vulnerable.
Yes, I am. If that is the case, and I wouldn't know if I was vulnerable or not, right? How would I know? But again, I'm trying. You know, I don't have any financial information. I don't have my Social Security. I do have my contact list, you know, and my email, but they're pretty much Google products. You know, I'm not running a lot of third-party, and I'm hoping that the Google products aren't going to be having this difficulty, because that would be the real shame.
All right. I think we all agree that we'd like to see Google plug it, but hey, we're not going to get our way, are we?
You know, unless something really horrific happens and someone and it blows up on the internet, if something took place and someone, lost something of importance and it was based on that and it blew up, then, they would have to respond.
All
If it
right.
got viral, I would think they would do it.
All right, guys. I'm going to move on into the apps and hardware segment. But before I do, gang, hey, let me tell you a little bit about who we are. We are Tech and Coffee. We are a Google Plus daily hangout. We love to get together and talk tech with our favorite beverage, and this is your invitation to join us. Weekdays, we normally get rolling about 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and sometimes the hangout doesn't end till on up into the night. So, yeah, man, grab your favorite beverage and come on over to techandcoffee.info. Look for the TNC logo coffee cup. You can read the rules, kind of let you know what to expect, how we operate. We also have a Twitter and a Facebook. You can follow us there, techandcoffee.one. Our YouTube channel is Tech and Coffee. Our favorite social network of all of them is Google+. Search Google+ for Tech and Coffee. Look for that TNC logo. Catch our podcast on Stitcher Radio and iTunes. Hey, if you use the hash Tech and Coffee, we'll see it. Use that and AJ at techandcoffee.info to let us know what you think. Any article we hear, questions, comments, and snide remarks, we would love to hear from you guys. Hash Tech and Coffee or AJ at techandcoffee.info. Hey guys, let's talk about our apps and our hardware. What are we using? Bruce, if you don't care, kick her off, my friend.
I sure will. Well, it's exciting to be a part of the Tech and Coffee community. And one of the things that we did last year, well, actually we've done it 2 years in a row, we have this thing called the Hurl, the Hangout in Real Life. And last year was in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. We rented a large cabin, and we're in the midst of trying to plan another Hurl, and we're tossing around some different destinations and so forth. But as part of that discussion, and concerning one of the destinations that shall remain unnamed at this particular point, the subject came up about how to get there. And, I drove from Lynchburg, Virginia to Pigeon Forge. Some people flew into Nashville. You picked them up and drove them into Pigeon Forge. We had people drive up from Charlotte in different ways. But the subject came up about taking a train. And when I was a young lad, my mom was a registered nurse, and she was hired to be the camp nurse for a camp in Ocala, Florida called Camp Universe. And we're from Miami, and I remember, and this is my first one and only train ride, and that's right, we took the Orange Blossom Special from Miami on up north, and we got off in Ocala, and the train ride was a lot of fun. So as we've discussed this thing, and I've decided, there is an Amtrak station here in Lynchburg, Virginia, and it just happens to be along the line that would provide me a connection to one of these locations. And so my app of the week is just the Amtrak app. It's a really great app. It's really simple. I have all kinds of travel apps. I've got the the Delta app, the US Air app. I've got the Allegiant Airline app, but I also have the Amtrak app, and it's been really fun just kind of exploring around. I remember I was sitting at a table in the Muse Coffee Company, and there were two Liberty University students sitting next to me, and they were talking about taking the train to New York City, and so we had a lot of fun going to the Amtrak site and seeing how much it would cost to go from Lynchburg to New York City. But this is kind of what the app looks like as I'm sharing my screen right now, and I'm not going to log in because I haven't created an account yet. But you can go here and you can see all the different stations. Now I do have a station here, and what's that recent search? New Orleans, Louisiana. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, I can go to Lynchburg and I can see that there's an elevator there, that there's Wi-Fi there. I can go here and go to buy tickets and schedules, and I can look at different schedules. I can go over here and and I can see the prices. I'm searching for trips now. Oh, this is Lynchburg to New Orleans, Louisiana. Why anybody would want to go to New Orleans, I don't know. But here's a reserve coach. It's the 19 Crescent. You know, it leaves at 10:06. It's a 22-hour train ride.
Yeesh.
So I can tap on that, and I can look at it and get different information. Oh, look, there's a Viewliner roomette for an extra $357 per person. So since Jeff's paying my way, I'm going to go ahead and add that to my ticket here. But anyway, my app of the week is Amtrak. I've not taken a train in a long time, but I have a feeling that a train ride might be in my near future. So Amtrak, it's my app of the week.
Hey, Bruce, just installed it, man. Thanks for the tip. That was great. Thank you very much. Hey, Jeff,
Yeah.
what do you got, my friend?
Well, you know, I have something that probably a lot of people have, or the Google Translate. Looks like it is downloaded 2,647,182 times, and I'm actually one of them. So, you know, I wanted something because, you know, here in Napa there's a lot of Hispanics and, you know, and landscapers and things like that, and sometimes things get lost in translation. This is the best app I have ever seen in my entire life. I really, really like it. Let's see if I can bring it up here. You can actually have a conversation. Not now, because it just went dead. Let's try this again. Well, we won't have a conversation that way. Let me go back over here and do it this way. What a great app that was.
Jeff, can you say no signal in Spanish?
No signal. So this is what the app looks like. I'll just do it the old kind of way, right? And you can have a conversation. It recognizes what language you are speaking in. So if I were to speak in Spanish, it would translate it to English. If I speak in English, it translates it back to Spanish in real time. So let's try something. How old is Pamela Anderson?
¿Qué edad es Pamela Anderson?
¿Dónde está el baño?
Where is the bathroom?
And it would go back and forth between the two, so you would just be able to, and it will just do it right now. So it's listening to me right now, and it's going to translate this.
Sería ir y venir entre los dos de ustedes. Se nos acaba de ser y que solo lo hará en este momento. Por lo que su escucha a mí en este momento se va a traducir esto.
Yeah, I don't know if it really did that or not, Jeff.
Well, exactly. But the cool thing is, you can just hold the phone up, and both parties can speak back and forth. And yeah, there's a delay of possibly 2 seconds while it does it, and it just does it, and it'll translate it. It might make a mistake, but at least you can have a conversation by just holding the phone up like this, which I think is so cool. Plus, it works in offline mode. So if you know you're going to a country, you can download that portion and just keep it resident on your phone. You don't have to worry about data or anything like that, and we'll just translate it. It is very, very cool. Plus, if you want to have like phrases that you want to star, you can keep a list of the phrases that you want to use, like "Where's my hotel?" or "How much is that?" or why are your toenails bigger than everyone else's? Whatever you want to keep as your key phrase, and you can just click on it and it'll just translate it. It's great. I mean, I'm so impressed with the technology. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, and you know when it mistranslates and doesn't work very easily because the person that you're having this conversation with slaps you, right?
Don't talk about my wife Pamela Anderson like that.
Yeah, it's I'll tell you what's the truth. If you don't use Google now, I'll tell you, it just keeps getting smarter and smarter. It understands East Tennessee redneck really well, and yes, I'll tell you what Google is doing with Translate and its voice services is very, very impressive. I agree wholeheartedly, Jeff. All right, man, Google Translate, great app. Thank you, sir. Robert, your turn.
Well, I don't really have so much as an app as a service. So I'll jump in this. And just on the panel right here, and everybody listening or watching, I want you to hold your hand up if you've ever gotten a phone call from Microsoft saying you've gotten a virus. Or did you get a phone call about reducing your monthly mortgage? Or this is Rachel from Cardholder Services. Those have got to be the most annoying phone calls. They always seem to come whenever you're trying to eat dinner or watch the game or whatever. And you know, for a while I had taken great pleasure in taking those calls and talking to that operator for as long as I could. And my rationale was, if I string them along and I keep them on the phone as long as I possibly can, maybe I'm stopping them from scamming some other poor sap who doesn't know any better. And, you know, it is amazing to watch them just explode after about 15 or 20 minutes of me just kind of stringing them along and finally saying, look, you know what, I'm not really going to do this, you know, because I know you're a scammer. What you're doing is against the law. It's totally illegal. There's no way to stop it. The FCC is going nuts with trying to stop it. As a matter of fact, they held a contest 2 years ago and somebody to develop a technology that would help deal with robot calls. That's what these are. They're robot calls that play the message. You press 1 and say, talk to operator, and boom, you get the spiel. Or they'll tell you, press 9 if you don't want to be bothered again. Well, guess what? You're going to get bothered again, no matter what. This service called No Robo was actually the winner of a $25,000 prize by the FCC for how to deal with robot calls. I've installed it about a week ago. It is phenomenally good. I average 2 calls a day from a robot caller. Since I've installed this, 0. None, nada. Now, there is a catch. You have to have a phone service that supports simul-ring, which means that when your phone number gets called, it can actually ring 2 places at once. I happen to use Vonage, but Verizon has this service on their phone lines. I know that Bell South has it on their phone lines. If you use Google Voice, if you use Vonage, if you use Uma, if you use Magic Jack, this service is for you. Big catch, price, free. Absolutely, positively free. And here's how this works. You go into your phone service and you say, I want you to simultaneously ring the No Robo service. If it recognizes that number as a robot number, it will immediately pick up your phone and hang up. Your phone might ring 1 time, and it will just stop because the No Robo service has picked up the line and just disconnected it that fast. You don't get bothered at all. This service is unbelievable. It's extremely easy to set up. From the moment that I saw it to the time that I actually got it installed and working was less than 3 minutes, literally. And I have not gotten 1 single robot call since then. I strongly encourage you, if you are frustrated by these robot calls, give this a try. Take a look at it. Make sure that your phone line does have the simul ring service. You can sign in, log in, absolutely free. You create a little account with a username and password. I've gotten no spam from them, nothing. It all works legitimately. I strongly encourage our listeners and viewers, go check out NoMoRobo, NoMoRobo.com. It's great.
Very good, Robert. Very good. Yeah, man, I did, when you first started talking, I did a search for it, found the website. That looks very interesting. I will be checking that out. Very good, Rob. Okay, listen, here's my app for the week, but I really need, I'm sorry, it's not an app, it's actually hardware. But before I reveal it, I just want to kind of set it up. First of all, if you guys don't know, we're all good friends. The three guys you see on the panel with myself and many others, we hang out a lot together. As Bruce mentioned, we've met each other in real life, except we haven't met Jeff. Bruce, Robert, and I haven't met Jeff in real life, and that's by our choice, not his.
I want to touch Jeff's dimple when I see him sometime.
But we hang out a lot, and this past Saturday, Robert and I were hanging out early Saturday morning, and we were just kind of talking. I told him I didn't sleep very well, and watched a lot of tech podcasts, and on one of the tech podcasts I was watching, they actually reviewed a selfie stick. And I told Robert, I said, the thing's just $8.35 on Amazon Prime, and I said, I'm thinking about ordering it. Well, we kind of got to talking about it just a little bit, and then we got to talking about some other stuff, and Robert, he asked me, hey, put a link in chat there, let me see it, and I sent him a link to it, and then we talked a little bit further. He said, hey, Duke, he said, what's your address again? And I didn't suspect anything because we've given our addresses before and tried out some mailings, so forth, etc., some experiments. And the next thing I knew, I heard Robert smack his keyboard, and he said, I just ordered that for you. So he's ordered it for me. Thank you very much, Robert. And why would I want a selfie stick? I mean, why would some old, fat, bald-headed man want to take selfies of himself? Well, I don't. I really don't take selfies of myself. Maybe I'll start now that I have a selfie stick. Who knows? But let me tell you guys just a little bit about this particular one. This is called GoPro Mate. It's got an extendable handheld monopod stick. It's got an adjustable phone holder, but it's also got a Bluetooth remote wireless shutter. This thing works on both iOS and Android, and it is $8.35 with Prime shipping. You can get it cheaper should you choose. This thing right now has 55 customer reviews, 4 stars, and without further ado, here it is. I have not even opened it yet. So let me get this thing open, and oops. Here we go. Here we go. I'm opening it. So this is the phone mount, and if you will notice, this thing has the standard, I'm going to call it the Dimple nut, that will fit on any tripod besides a selfie stick, okay? Here we go with the selfie stick itself. I'll have to say this thing feels a little bit heavier than I thought it would. Of course, it telescopes. I'm not real sure. I'll tell you what, let me switch cameras here. This thing actually would give you a pretty good range here if you can kind of see. Yeah, it's got a little range on it, okay?
It looks like a cattle prod.
I thought it looked like more like a 2-iron.
Oh, okay, and you can see here that you can, adjust it. And here, real quick, let me go ahead and mount the yeah. If you're listening, bear with me here while I. Oh gosh. Okay.
You got to spin the top.
Well, I'm holding my mouth wrong or something. I'll figure that out in a second. But this is spring-loaded, by the way, so it's going to fit a variety of size phones. I really believe that my Note would fit in that thing. No joke. It's and very simple design. I'm not sure how long that'll hold up, but it's the spring feels pretty sturdy in there. I think I'm going to get some mileage out of that. Okay. But for $8, guys, keep in mind this right here is the Bluetooth remote control. There's the battery, and you can see here you've got a button for iOS and a button for Android. It's got a little hook on it so you can put it on your key ring. And this right here is really what interested me, because I can see myself mounting my phone with this right here and mounting this up and putting this on a tripod and then using this remote control from a distance to take pictures. And you can, if you haven't noticed, Robert ordered him one, and he's got it up and demoing it there right now. So there it is. Hey, guys, for $8.35 on Amazon, forget the selfie stick, man. I wanted the spring-loaded mount and the Bluetooth remote control. Absolutely. So, hey, the GoPro Mate extendable self-portrait selfie handheld stick monopod with smartphone adjustable phone holder and Bluetooth remote wireless shutter for iPhone, Samsung, and other iOS and Android smartphones.
And Jeff, I just want to add, and you can confirm, that Duke was not able to get it up, but Robert was able to get it up. We saw it on the camera.
Well, you know, Robert does have a full head of hair.
That's true.
Hey, guys, really quick here. I just want to, we've had some Q&As come in. Hey, Douglas Clement says the next Apple iPad Mini, new name, Mini Me. And then he adds, my wife and I will ride the train, and she can bring her Mini Me. All right, man. Hey, really quick, I'm going to run through this from the grab bag. First of all, for all the tweets, the new follows, Marie Gretchen, Nanya, Michael, Grow and Graze, Jerome, Phillimore, thank you very much for the follows. Hey, for all the faves and retweets this week, Dennis DeVoe and Charlie Day, thank you guys so much. Charlie, I love your tweets. I love all the interaction you give on the Google, our Google Plus community. And hey, if I ever make it to Cyprus, I am looking you up. Really enjoy what you're doing around social media. One more thing, guys, really quick. We got some feedback last week, and this feedback came from Keith. Keith, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your last name. Kajif. Hey, the part about Google not supporting the Hisense tablet, I think people should note that for Google to go back and patch all these different hardware configurations is not like Apple at all. Apple has one model, very easy to support. Google tries to support hundreds of different hardware configurations. That is a daunting task. Also, comparing it to a hole in Windows is not a good comparison. That would be more comparable to security hole in Android in general. Just a thought, enjoyable hangout. Keep up the good work. Keith, appreciate the feedback. I'm not sure that I totally agree with you. I do know where you're coming from, but hey, let's just agree to disagree. Appreciate the feedback. Hey, guys. Anything else before I call this one episode 87?
I'm good.
Okay. Hey, guys, thank you all so much for joining us, and we will catch you in 7. Again, appreciate all the love on Stitcher Radio, and keep those tweets, those questions, comments, and snide remarks coming. Peace out, everybody.